All right, well, I'm here with RHODRI Jones. RHODRI, what can you tell me about today's announcement?
The Test series is very close. We're 6 weeks away from a historic Test series against Tonga, and it's really, really exciting. We've had Sean and George from England here, head coach and captain, and Christian and Felice from Tonga on Teams and Zoom, and a real energy in the room. Clearly both teams looking forward to playing in 6 weeks' time, which, like I say, is a historic Test series. It's the first time Tonga have toured in a 3-Test series up in the Northern Hemisphere, and it brings back that rivalry from 2017, and we're really, really excited about the autumn.
And how good is it to have a little bit of certainty around the international calendar going forward?
Yeah, 100%. This Test series was confirmed before the wider calendar was agreed, but it actually was probably an instigator of the conversation around a fixed calendar for the next 5 years. Coming out of Singapore, we've been able to do that. So, from an England perspective, we'll play play Tonga this year. We'll have some Southern Hemisphere opposition next year up here in the Northern Hemisphere. England will tour men and women down to Australia in 25. 26 is going to be the World Cup, which at the moment we've said is Southern Hemisphere, so we'll wait to see more on that. And then in 27 the Kiwis will come up here, and 28 the Kangaroos will come up here. So for someone like George Williams, he can see 5 years ahead of him what the international competition looks like, which I think is probably the first time, certainly since I've been involved in the sport, we've been able to say anything like that.
And I guess there was a lot of a bit of a waiting game, I guess you could say, with the CBA negotiations that were going on down, the Southern Hemisphere. How pleased are you that they've been resolved? And I guess it must give you some confidence going forward.
Yeah, 100%. And you're right. The delay in announcing the series back in March, April time was because of the CBA. But I'm glad for Peter and Andrew. They finally got it over the line. After we'd had that meeting in Singapore, and it just puts, it allies any fears that players wouldn't be available, and everything that we've always heard, to be fair, from Christian, from a Tonga perspective, is they consult with their players all the time. And so when the idea of them touring came about, they were very clear in that they wanted to consult with the players, and the players were really bought into the Test series, which gave us confidence that we could confirm it with them. So, yeah, we're really looking forward to it.
And you're hoping to see 3 packed stadiums heading up to this series?
That's the aspiration, absolutely, and I don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't aspire to that. I think we saw in the World Cup that England playing is different to the domestic game. It appeals to a Rugby League fan, but it appeals to a national fan, an England fan. Whether it be football, rugby union, rugby league, cricket. When England play, we see a difference in our crowd numbers, which is encouraging, and we really, really hope all 3 venues will be filled alongside that BBC audience as well, who, again, as we know, when people see England on the TV guide, they tune in because it's England. So yeah, we're really looking forward to the Test series.
And I guess at the moment we've obviously got the Rugby World Cup happening, and we've unfortunately experienced a bit of a delay in our next World Cup. I guess how important is it for us to try and take a look at Rugby World Cup, see what they're doing right, see what they're doing wrong, and try and implement that with our World Cup going forward?
Yeah, and I think when was their first professional World Cup? 1995, 99 was their first professional one, and the difference, I guess, between theirs in 87 through to now is significant. I think the bit that we've learned is effectively potentially not to grow too quickly. So the decision to go from 16 teams that was in 22 to 10 teams now in 26 is to make sure that the product is the best product, and the best product is seen by the world. So potentially removing those score blowouts, and just refining the competition structure to make sure that it's appealing to broadcasters, appealing to commercial partners. So 26 will see a 10-team competition, which I appreciate there's a fine balance between giving players the opportunity to play international rugby league, but also then coming back to we want the best rugby on the field and the most competitive rugby on the field. So that's the decision we've made, and I think all roads lead now to 2026, and that's certainly what both England and Tonga will be building towards.
And there's no denying that we are seeing growth in some of those smaller countries. Obviously, Lebanon were a big shocker in the last World Cup we had. How pleasing is it to see Lebanon Tonga, Samoa, all sort of thriving in today's day and age.
Yeah, I think it is great for the international game. I think the challenge for us up here in the Northern Hemisphere is the Tongas, the Samoas, the Cooks, the PNGs. They're all Southern Hemisphere based and are supported by the ARLC and the NRL. I think the challenge for us up here is where is our Northern Hemisphere equivalents? We have worked long and hard with France, and there is more work to do in France. But who are the other nations that are coming through? And Wales, Scotland, Ireland clearly have got international heritage, have played at World Cups. But there's also the newcomers, let's call them. Lebanon, Greece played in the World Cup 6 months ago, and Serbia, who are a rising force in Eastern Europe. So yeah, we need to work harder at Northern Hemisphere, getting the international game in the Northern Hemisphere thriving, and that's one of the challenges that we've all got up here.
Perfect. Well, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.